you've been trying to build pipeline with cold outbound in the first 3 months of 2026, you already know it's almost impossible. I've built outbound system that I've booked over 200 calls this year. And even at that level, I can feel how different the game is from 2 years ago. Demand for software and services is already at an all-time low. There's simply less buyers out there than there were 2 to 3 years ago. But more importantly, cold email reply rates have dropped from 8.5% in 2019 to under 4% today. And I didn't just pull this out of my ass. This is from Reach Outly. And if you're a service-based business targeting digital businesses, for example, if you're an agency targeting B2B SaaS, you're probably sitting closer to 1 or 2% reply rates. And most people try to get past this by improving their copy or fixing their deliverability or even their targeting, which all help, but the environment itself has fundamentally changed. AI tools have basically completely removed the barrier for people launching cold emails. Now everyone and their mom can send them. What used to take a 5-person SDR team now just takes 1 person and a tool, which means that your prospect's inbox is more of a war zone than it's ever been. So the question shouldn't be, why isn't my outbound converting? The question is, why would it? And that's exactly what I'm going to break down in this video, because once you understand what's actually killing your pipeline, the fix becomes a lot more obvious. So this is how we fix this for ourselves and clients. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to use this system to increase your reply rates by 3 times and unlock $1 million in pipeline every quarter. Now, here's a solution that I'm going to be breaking down that led to us getting calls like this. We call it the warm outbound system. And if you follow this system, you're going to be booking 20 plus qualified calls a month consistently without relying on cold outreach alone. So let me show you exactly what it looks like. This is what most companies, most B2B companies approach looks like that we speak to. Either they're running cold outbound alone with a separate SDR team, or with them just launching manual automations on Instantly. But the problem is that gets ignored or filtered by AI spam systems. It burns through your total addressable market. There's no trust built before you make the ask. It's expensive to scale, diminishing returns, and it looks identical to 50 other emails in their inbox. And either they also do content alone as well, which just takes a lot of months to compound into pipeline. There's inconsistent call volume, it's unpredictable, prospects get confused by scattered social presence, there's no controlled distribution channel, and you can't build a quarter on organic reach and hope alone. And so the winning combination is having both of them working in tandem, not choosing one or the other. And one fundamental concept that most B2B companies have to understand to be able to survive and thrive in terms of building their pipeline and getting more demos is that the buyer journey has changed, right? The old journey is someone would land on one of your content pieces, that would go straight to your website, they would book a call and they'd close. Pretty straightforward. Completely different reality now in 2026. People might see a cold email, then they'll check out your LinkedIn or YouTube, and then they'd maybe DM to get a lead magnet from you. And then they'd go back to watching a YouTube video, and then you'll reach out to them again. And then maybe they'll read your newsletter, and then they'll eventually book a call and close. So there's multiple touch points, and what's unique is there a lot more. There's about 86% of buyers right now that are using video before they make a purchase and decision. So video is much more significant nowadays because trust has gone at an all-time low because AI has been so prevalent. So the new buyer needs multiple touch points across multiple channels before they trust you enough to get on a call. If you're not showing up at every stage, someone else is going to be. The system is built entirely around that reality. And so the 2 parts to the system is, number 1, it's a AI SDR with value-led outbound. And so this is a 2-step sequence primarily that leads with a specific problem, not a pitch, and earns trust before ever asking for a call. And I'm going to dive into this here in a second. But the second track is the YouTube trust infrastructure, which primarily consists of 3 foundational video assets that handle objections, explain your solution, and they prove results. And that's running on autopilot 24/7 to pre-sell and warm up any prospect that comes into your funnel. But there's a third bonus layer that comes into this, which is scaling the YouTube organic. However, that's not relevant to every business because not every business has a target audience that is frequently on YouTube. And so outbound drives traffic to your content. Content makes your outbound convert. Neither channel could produce this result alone. And so getting into what I mean by the value-led outbound sequence. So what I mean by this is you're going to have the email become so extremely relevant by mentioning a problem that's specific to them and their stage and at the right time. And you're going to come to them saying that, hey, I've actually done a video breakdown of how we've solved this for this company, or how we've just solved this problem in general, right? And that's where that YouTube asset that you've created in step 2 would come in. It's the foundational video asset. Now, this makes it so that they are 3 to 4 times more likely to reply. And we've actually tracked this based on data
that we've gathered. And then you're going to share the video. And not only is this going to increase reciprocity and increase the reply rate, but it's also going to build immense trust, and it's going to perceive you as different in their eyes. And so essentially step one is you show a laser focused observation that shows you understand their world, and then you come at it from an angle of, hey, we recorded a breakdown of exactly how we've solved this and want me to send it over. And then you deliver the video. It builds trust, handles objections, demonstrates how you think, and creates reciprocity. And this is just a 2-step email campaign. We don't recommend 5 to 10 step chains anymore at all, because you'd rather just be getting to new prospects now, and the percentage likelihood of the reply drop off just increases dramatically after the second step. So after step 2, it's extremely unlikely to get any meaningful replies from cold email. However, some campaigns would benefit from 3 steps if you have a very small TAM. If you want to know exactly which scenario would work best for you, just message me and I'll be able to let you know. And so why does the video CTA change everything? Because with the old approach, you're asking for a 15-minute call, and we all know that this doesn't work as well anymore. It's very high friction, high commitment from someone completely cold, right? And sending a quick video breakdown. Again, this is free, short, relevant. Resistance completely drops, and they say yes out of curiosity. It builds trust before the call, handles objections passively, and differentiates you immediately. So what happens after they book? This is a very crucial part, because most B2B teams and most companies that I speak to, they have no pre-call sequence after a prospect books, and then they show up and they're asking, what do you guys do? Right? Which is terrible. You don't ever want that happening to your call. So this pre-call process that includes video assets is going to increase show up rate and increase close rate. And so you confirm the call instantly after they book a call. You lead them to a video page which handles their objection. So how this can be laid out is you can have a thank you confirmation page if they come in inbound through your LinkedIn profile or through your website, which explains to them the next steps in a small video format, which could be like 2 minutes long. And you can have breakout videos below that confirmation video where it handles specific objections for the prospect. You can also send out pre-call emails that educate the prospect further, deliver value, and just build massive trust. And this works so that prospects that you book from outbound, they will receive this, because the prospects that you get inbound, they can go into the page and they can get nurtured and have their objections handled with the page. However, if you book them from outbound, they're obviously not going to get redirected to this page. And so you have a pre-call email sequence that, for example, delivers a video. It delivers the 3 foundational assets, essentially. So a video that handles their biggest objection, a video that explains your process, and a video showing a client result that you've gotten. And this increases show up rates and close rates massively, and they essentially arrive pre-sold. Now, for the second part of the system, this is the YouTube Trust Engine. It's not a full content strategy. It's just 3 foundational assets built to handle the most common reasons prospects don't move forward. And it runs across your YouTube channels, but also it will be layered across outbound as well, and your post-booking funnel. And so video 1, primarily we tell clients there should be one that handles the biggest objection and frustration that your prospects are having. And video 2 should explain the solution very clearly so that prospects understand what you do without you needing to pitch it live. And video 3 is essentially prove how it works, show a client interview, show a testimonial, show proof that you've solved their problem. And so this becomes a flywheel effect once you combine those 2 systems in tandem. Each track feeds the other, and over time the whole thing compounds. So you have outbound firing, an AI SDR sends precise value-led sequences to your ICP. And this is one thing that I want to make clear, is that the AI SDR automates the complete outbound process. So you don't need to do this manually, and you don't need to stick together multiple tools and end up paying thousands in subscriptions. And you don't need to pay an SDR $70,000 to do this manually for you. We have a software called Monara that is an AI SDR that automates everything from prospecting all the way to booking the meeting. More on that on the first link in the description. However, that's the first step. The second step is the prospect watches the content, trust is built passively. You have objections handled before the call, and they book the call, so they arrive educated and pre-sold, which results in higher show and close rates. And the content then compounds. So YouTube drives inbound, without you doing anything while you're sleeping. And you can enrich the data that comes from the content on YouTube and LinkedIn. And that results in 3 to 6 times better reply rates. So everyone that ends up, let's say, signing up to your newsletter on YouTube, or someone that comes in through LinkedIn and engages with one of your content pieces, we have a process that enriches their data and gets their email and gets their LinkedIn profile, and we have a sequence that goes out to them, that reaches out to them in a very personalized manner, and they already have the trust built and the likeness as well. So when you reach out to them, they're very, very likely to reply and book in and become clients. And the inbound is going to grow as well in the background in terms of if you're scaling YouTube. Now, again, this is not going to be relevant for every single B2B SaaS company and B2B company, because not all their target audiences are regularly on YouTube. But if you are able to scale YouTube over time, this is going to result in less reliance on outbound, and you're going to have multiple qualified leads come to you organically. We've actually helped Serge Guattari, who's a business consultant, generate over $2.5 million in revenue in just 1 year directly from YouTube alone. And so what ends up happening with this flywheel is your cost per acquisition drops, your close rate goes up, and you stop being 100% dependent on cold outbound to fill your calendar. This is the most ideal position you want to be in 2026, because everyone and their mother can now send cold outbound with AI. The barrier has basically dropped down to zero. And so as AI gets more and more fluent, the barrier is only going to get lower, and trust is just going to keep going lower, and people are going to be more resistant to any cold message, and they're ultimately going to need to watch videos that explain your solution, that show how you're different. Video is the highest form of trust going forward, and you can't fake video because everyone can type messages, and this can all be generated with AI. However, with video, people see how you speak, people see how you work, they see the work that you do, and they see how you're explaining it. It's a completely different game than just text. And so this is why video assets are not just something that is gonna 3 to 4x your outbound results immediately off the gate, and not just increase your show up rate and close rate, but it's also something that once you crack, you can scale organically and scale your inbound traffic so that you are much less reliant on outbound in the future. And so the outcomes that you should expect from this system once you've implemented what I went through here is that you're going to be seeing 20 plus qualified meetings a month coming in with decision makers who understand your offer and are interested before the conversation even starts. And you're going to see 3 to 4x reply rates on average with these value-led outbound sequences versus, generic SDR templated sequences. And we've used this exact same system to book over 200 plus calls for our clients running the system. And they're all warm, qualified prospects. So if you want to see what this looks like inside your business, we're running free pipeline audit calls for 5 founders this month. If you want to get an audit for your business, just hit the link below and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.